Welcome back to the Bullet Grill House High School Sports Pregame Show. Craig Irwin, Brian Besh, Chris Moran sitting in here at Bullet Grill House. We're here on Wednesday nights. Each and every Wednesday night we get kicked off at 6 o'clock. Got a couple, three screens sit here in the patio. Sit here and watch the Astros game on Wednesday night. And
it's great when it's on, right?
Yes, it is. And they're getting there slowly. But
yeah.
Be able to watch Houston play, watch the Stros play. We follow up with the College Game Day show. So we're here till 8:30, 9 o'clock on Wednesday nights. Come see us at 401 Highway 156 in Point Blank, Texas, each and every Wednesday night. Ton of good food. I mean, it's like we're just taking a bat and we're beating the mess out of it. But we can't say enough about the menu here at Bullet Grill House. The food here, the drinks are cold. It's great staff. And Wednesday nights they have bingo night. So you can actually sit out here at the patio, cut up, talk a little football in between segments with us, and still stay up to date on your bingo cards.
Yes, you can.
So just a 15-minute drive or so from Cold Spring to get up here. Wife and I make the trip a couple times, 3-4 times a month, to get up here and have some of this great food here at Bullet Grill House.
Yeah, I'll say, you say it's the 15-minute drive from Cold Spring. I'm always amazed usually about once or twice a week, we get somebody comes in and they're talking to me about, they found us online, they looked us up and they're coming. I mean, we've got people from Livingston, from Cold Spring, from Huntsville all the time. That's normal to see, but we're getting people from New Waverly, from Conroe, from the Woodlands, from Spring that saw us online and decided, hey, it's a good day for a drive. Let's get out. Let's go up the lake. They come up. I mean, and their sole mission is to come here for dinner. It's a great honor to me that we've, I'm just humbled by that. People see us online and they are willing to come that far to get, our good mood, good service, good food, good service.
And to go with that, my wife and I, some friends of ours, Ryan and Mindy, we're going to be up here Saturday, midday, having lunch. And Ryan and Mindy, they have a place up out of Trinity, or Love Lady, actually, on the river. And they're like, we got to get back up here to come up there to the river house to, they call it the fish camp, but to get back over to Bullet Grill House. We want to try some more. And they're going to be shocked whenever they show up Saturday and they have a couple more pages on the menu to look at as
more choices. Now it's going to be even tougher to decide what you want.
An upgraded menu here at Bullet Grill House, and it couldn't have come at a better time with the Bullet Grill House High School Sports Pregame Show going into Week 3 and really being able to plug this away and let y'all know at home and or on your way to the games what's going on. So a lot of good games coming up here in Week 3, and I'm looking forward to this.
61.
This week in football. You got some teams that are kind of settling in, Brian, and kind of figuring out where they're at.
Because there's a few that are out there that are traditional powers that are struggling so far this year.
Like down there in the Golden Triangle, Nederland, Vider.
Vider's the one that stands out to me. It's crazy that they've lost 2 games already. Some of those games and some of those scores are things that you haven't seen since maybe the 80s, whenever they were struggling back in those days.
But if you think back, remember, I believe it was a couple years ago, Brian, Vider started out 0-2.
Yeah.
I think 0-3 actually. And then made a huge run, deep run in the playoffs. After they got in, they kind of got their feet up underneath them. Of course, that was around the time we had a hurricane hit that come up there on the Texas-Louisiana state line.
More so the scores, though. I mean, they're not competitive in some of these games.
Yeah.
I think it was Silsbee that they played. Of course, we talked about it. Silsbee's going to run through a lot of people this year, and they're going to embarrass a lot of people. But it's something where I wouldn't expect Vider to be blown out.
And it's going to happen this week. See Silsbee at Nederland.
4-quarter bingo.
It might.
This leaves the first vertical and the whole.
No, I think it will. And just going to run through a few games that are going on tonight before we get into our pick'ems is, let me find it. Trying to get to the right spot. Galena Park. Yellow Jackets going to be at Splendora, homecoming for the Splendora Wildcats. I expect Splendora to be able to get a win. Over watching that football program play last week in the subpar conditions that they had to deal with in Cold Spring, homecoming night for the Wildcats, game at home. That's going to be a game that Splendora, I feel like they're going to kind of rebound on and kind of set their momentum. They're not a bad football team.
No.
We got a bingo out here on the patio. Ken, go let them know. Hurry, Ken. Holler bingo, Ken. We got bingo. Bingo here at Bullet Grill House. Everybody's a winner at Bullet Grill House when you show up. But it's a game I feel like that's going to be a momentum shift for the Wildcats. There in Splendora, they beat Cleveland, which not a bunch to brag about in that game. But I feel like that game being at home, going to have solid ground. With the rain that we've been getting every evening, it does play effect on the playing surface. And I think this is one that the Wildcats are going to be able to pull out.
Well,
Forecast does look a little better this week, right? Finally drying out this week if it stays.
Yes, luckily we got some rain today because we put fertilizer out yesterday evening. And so it was a blessing to get that little shower that we got today.
I don't know if Splendora is going to turn it around. I haven't seen them play. You're going to know a lot more about me than I would. But it's Splendora has struggled the last couple of years, and I feel like they lost some of their most talented kids off of those teams. And the running back that I keep going back to in particular is the one that always impressed me.
Yeah, and he's playing at a Division II school up in Arkansas now.
Okay.
But his dad was also a coach there. But the Facundo kid, the quarterback, dude, great poise. Look, here was the deal this last week against Cold Spring. The secondary is so fast for Cold Spring. They're young, but they're fast. And, I mean, they were literally jumping routes, getting picks. If it wasn't, and much like the week before, if it wasn't a 4 or 5 yard pass, they weren't completing it.
Yeah.
Liberty wasn't able to complete anything downfield all weekend, all night long against the Trojans in week 1. Week 2, that secondary of Coach Rydell's was able to do the same thing. And it's going to be hard to go downfield and make that big play in the air against the secondary of the Cold Spring Trojans. And I think this is going to be an opportunity for Facundo to really show out and really put some good stats up and kind of hopefully set the tempo for the Wildcats, not for the Lions, but for them as they get ready to roll into district play. Another game that sticks out is PNG at West Orange Star.
Yeah, and that's one, if you're not covering a game on Friday night, it wouldn't be a horrible thing to go see something like that. It's two traditional powers down there in Southeast Texas, and I'm sure that's going to be a big sellout game. I'm sure it's one of the largest games in Texas this week, and I don't even know what the rest of the schedule is. I don't have to, because whenever those two teams get together, it's going to be huge.
I think I'm getting sick. And I got to drive through Hampshire for net, so I might as well go the rest of the way.
Might as well.
I mean, I'm 7/8 of the way there, right? That is a game that would be fun to go watch. Huffman is going to be on the road at Neeville, a game for you to really pay attention to, see what Huffman is really about, playing a good Neeville football team.
You can scoreboard compare, and it's something in years past. I talked to Coach Vanover about this earlier this week, to where you really haven't been able to in past years. Because a lot of times Huffman will go and schedule all these private schools. Well, this year it's Livingston that's playing all the private schools. And Huffman's got a lot of the same opponents. Needville's one of them, and the Spring Legacy. I know that they're both playing Spring Legacy that Livingston's going to see next week, I believe at home. So it'll be a deal to where, maybe you can scoreboard compare a little bit, but and being that both of these schools are playing each other so early on in district, maybe it's something that'll actually matter.
Now, your Livingston Lions are going to be on the road, getting a little wind chill time going to Palestine. And man, that's a pretty drive going up there for one thing, but getting a little wind chill time going up there to Palestine. I don't personally know a bunch about Palestine. I know they're a 4A school. They're overall off in the not the by-district round, but they're over in Region 2, I believe is where they're at. So
had an opening season win over Nacogdoches, and I I want to say that was a one-score game that they beat Nacogdoches. I want to say it's like a 38-31 score, if I remember right. Last week played Jasper and lost to Jasper. Close game, though, 40-28. And turnovers, I believe, played a factor in both of those games. Palestine's always been able to run the football, and they play good defense. They played good defense against Livingston a couple of years ago. Livingston had a habit of rolling on every single pass. They would roll out with Ruiz whenever he was back there playing quarterback. And you had both these Palestine defensive ends that were cat quick, and they would get back there in the backfield, and they would stop a lot of that. And it really cut out a lot of Livingston's air attack a couple of years ago. Probably going to expect the same thing this year. Livingston relies heavy on rolling out, and you got a quarterback that is a little on the shorter side, can't really see over some taller offensive linemen, so they like to get him out of the pocket. Not only that, but they like to be able to use his legs whenever possible too. So it's going to be a battle there. They're going to have to get a running game established so some of that play action actually takes effect.
Now, and you talked about Jasper. Jasper's going to have a task on their hand. Newton they're going on the road to Newton tonight, and that's going to be I feel like going to be a good game. Jasper without a Barbay at the head coaching position.
Yeah.
You got Brady Barbay and Brock Barbay that are both coaching there in Jasper, as Daryl and Brian have moved over to Louisiana and started coaching high school football over there last year. But Daryl Barbay out of the house there in Jasper, still a couple left, but trying to continue on the Barbay legacy as really good high school football coaches there in Jasper. A game I'm going to pay attention to. Woodville at Liberty. That game, we're going to talk about it in a little bit. Trying to go through and kind of see Diboll and Franklin, a game to keep an eye on, as well as coming into this week. Diboll, a 1-1 record thus far, not a very good showing against Madisonville. Madisonville suffered a big loss this last week against Navasota.
Which isn't embarrassing because Navasota's always got a program.
They have, but the last 5-6 years, they haven't been that story program that we've talked about for a long time. And so it's going to be interesting to see, honestly, how Navasota plays out with all of that. And that's going to bring us into our pick'ems.
Uh-oh.
And we're going to have to be quick because I'm looking at the time on the screen. First game on our pick'ems is Kirbyville on the road at Corrigan.
I'm going Corrigan. Corrigan's 2-0, and they're not planning on losing the game in regular season, and I'm not going to bet against them.
No, and I agree with you. And with the senior leadership that Corrigan has this year, I look for them to make a deep run in the playoffs, and hopefully you and I can pick up after this first – into the first week of the playoffs. Hopefully you and I can maybe go do a couple games, here on 102.3 The Eagle.
Definitely. I believe, if I remember right, Corrigan's got 21 seniors, and I know that they have more seniors on the team than kids who aren't seniors. So it's a team that has plenty of athletes. They kind of do like what Livingston does. They'll play on both sides of the football. They'll be wide receiver, running back on one drive of offense, and then they'll flip back over and they'll play defensive backfield.
Chris? I agree. You can't go against Corrigan right now.
Yeah, and I agree. And you can't bet against Corrigan, and hopefully we'll be able to get Coach Ratliff in here in the coming weeks to sit down and maybe do a segment about Corrigan Camden football. Maybe get through this week, and Brian, you can work your magical powers.
Yeah, I mean, he's never been shy about talking about his team, but he's got something that he smiles about whenever he talks about them this year.
And in last year we was able to bring Coach Robinson in from Shepherd, Coach Stanley, and Coach Stanley's got some stuff going on at home, family-wise, with his dad that he's not really up to getting out and about, and I understand that. Coach Rydell, I talked to him early on for the Cold Spring Trojans, the defense coordinator and assistant AD. He was kind of game early on. He had a new daughter back in August. She is back in the hospital awaiting a heart transplant. So keep Coach Rydell and his wife and family in your prayers. Here's a game that's going to be close, and I think it's going to be kind of a edgy situation for this pick'em. Huntington on the road at Tarkington. I'll start it off. I'm going to go with Tarkington. Home field advantage for the Longhorns. The maroon and gold. It's their first home game of the season. I feel like Tarkington's really going to rally. That's a tight-knit community. Although I do not like their radio broadcast, folks, as they would not let me in the press box last year. I actually went and ran the chains for that game. They had zero room. They wanted me to run 250 foot of extension cord from the home dugout on the baseball field to the bleachers for me to broadcast the game. And it was pretty disrespectful. And I made a vow that, and I told Coach Stanley, I said, we will never have room for Tarkington's radio broadcast in Cold Spring. And he said, if you say we don't, we don't. So I am going to go with Tarkington because it's not the kids' fault the radio broadcast is sorry like that.
Well, with all of that against them, and if you're still going to pick them, I got to go Huntington.
Okay.
I got to go Tarkington. I picked
Chris
them last week. I'm gonna stay with them to rebound.
You're gonna stay on that pony, huh?
Yeah, I'm gonna stay on that
You're
one.
gonna stay on that Longhorn.
Yeah.
Speaking of talking about Longhorns, we got the World's Fair kicking off next weekend in Cold Spring. I'm getting on a bull.
Ooh.
So
I better see some video of that on the.
No, you need to show up and come watch this because we're doing a 50-50 raffle. You buy a ticket, $1 a piece. You can put it in the bucket for me to ride or me to buck off. If I ride, we'll draw out of that bucket, and whoever's name I draw, they win half the pot. The other half I'm donating to charity. Half of my part of the pot is going to go to the Fair Association. The other half is going to go to the Senior Citizens organization there in Cold Spring, something my mom was very dear to. And my grandpa still frequents there.
That's a great group.
Each and every day. So that's what I'm doing with my half of the pot. So it's worth coming to drop.
And hopefully there's a
$20
clause in there that covers your hospital bill.
I got a very good insurance.
There you go.
Woodville on the road at Liberty.
I'm going Woodville. They impressed me last week.
Chris?
I'm gonna go Woodville.
I got to go Woodville too. And here's why. I've seen Liberty play. They're a good football team. They're a new offense. I don't think that they have everything put together enough to be able to beat a very dominant, well-established Woodville football team. Crockett on the road at Buna.
Buna. Easy choice. They played Corrigan in a really tight game. Crockett still has some problems. I'm going Buna.
Chris?
Well, that's convincing.
Short and sweet.
I'll go Buna. Ugh.
I'm going Buna too. Two reasons why. Crockett's struggling. Another new coach this year, as well as going to be on the road in Buna. I got to go Buna as well on that one. Cold Spring at Hampshire Finette. Brian, Chris.
I got to go Cold Spring this. I thought last week I picked against them, and I kind of regretted it. But I thought maybe they needed one more week to kind of get everything put together with some of the issues they've had from week one. But it sounds like they got things rolling, and I think they're going to roll on this week.
Brian?
Cold Spring.
Brian's going Cold Spring as well. While we're on this game, I will be there on 105.5 KDOL. You'll be able to stream it on 59M Sports as well on a live feed. I'm going with Hampshire Finette. I'm picking against my guys, and here's why. Hampshire Finette is a well-established football team, a lot of senior leadership on that team. I have been able to do a little bit of reading. I watched the scores that they put up. With that game being on the road, Cold Spring a long road trip, while they've put together two good wins, well, one good win, a staple win against a fair Splendora team. I felt like that game should have been a lot tighter with Splendora if they would have been on a level playing field as far as turf or something, or a solid foundation, not a mud bowl that we had in Cold Spring. That game being on the road, a lot of windshield time for the Trojans, a lot of time to think about it. I got to go I'm going with Hampshire Finette, and I'm probably going to get criticized pretty hard on this.
You should.
You're right, I should, but I don't get paid the big bucks by showing favoritism to one team or another. I got to speak who I think, and that's how I feel. And I think Hampshire Finette's going to pull out the win. I think it's going to be a tight game. Over on SETX, I've commented on a couple threads there talking about this game, and I just don't feel like Cold Spring is going to be able to beat them. I hope they prove me wrong.
There you go.
Do. You're listening. That's your Pick'em segment there for the high school sports pregame show here at Bullet Grill House. Chris, what else you got?
Real quick before we wrap up, just on September 24th, we're doing a benefit for one of the Point Blank volunteer firefighters, Mitchell Matthews, fighting cancer right now. It is September 24th. We'll have some more details. Check out our Facebook page. But if you have anything to donate, we're going to have a live auction that afternoon at 2 o'clock. So any businesses out there that want to make a donation, either contact me here at Bullet Grill House or contact the Point Blank Fire Department. Get some donations in, but it'll be a great day. We ride in the morning. We'll have live auction, 50-50, some live music. We got a lot planned for the day, but we are really actively taking as many donations as we can get to raise some money for the Mitchell family,
and
or Matthews family.
Chris is going to post a link there on the Bullet Grill House Facebook page of all the information on this. I will share it over on 590 Sports. We'll, excuse me, get Ken to share it over there on the Facebook page of 102.3 The Eagle and get all that information out for you. Hey, we got to get out of here. We got to get ready for kickoff. We're going to send it back to Ken and Brian. They're in Palestine, Craig and Christian over at Hampshire Finette. Get these games underway. Y'all have a great night, safe travels, and we'll see you at the game.